Hello, my name is Soko Paul Karsten, and this presentation is entitled Embodied Activation of Acupuncture Points. This presentation is designed for two audiences. The first are those of you that have a practice of mindfulness, contemplative practice, often training coming from Southern Buddhism and or the Yoga Nidra school, but also showing up in some embodied Zen practices in Northern Asia, and I'm sure in other disciplines as well. It's becoming a common meditation training in the West because it is quite useful for pain relief, relief of anxiety, as well as calming the spirit to be more present in each moment. The one thing that this training often lacks is the awareness of specific points on the body that when the technique of body scanning is used to focus on them can have sometimes a dramatic effect on shifting consciousness, releasing blockages or calming anxiety, assisting with pain, and so forth. And these focused points largely come from the tradition usually associated with ancient China and the identification of points for the use of acupuncture as well as body work, in other words, a form of physical medicine that can be used to assist health and well-being. So the learning of some of these points, which we will do in this presentation, will provide a method for you to study this further if you like, and the internal activation of these points. And will be in keeping with the kind of body scans that you have already been doing as part of your contemplative mindfulness practice. The other audience are those who are directly involved in acupuncture, either providing the acupuncture or being cared for by this treatment, or other disciplines that involve the use of identification of particular points on the body, acupressure, physical therapy, other forms of physical medicine found throughout the planet. And generally, these disciplines recognize that there are surface points on the body that, if stimulated in some way, can assist in the release of pain or other complaints that people have in the suffering that goes on in life. And therefore, practitioners of these disciplines are trained to locate the points and also often trained in specific usages or functions or indications for these points in treating people. And those of you who receive care are familiar with the experience of someone locating and identifying the points they believe are important and using some form of stimulation. This external stimulation could be needles, it could be electrostim, laser, various forms of acupressure or techniques using your hands, heat, sound. There are magnets. There are really, at this point in time, quite a few different ways to externally stimulate these points. The one thing that this discipline lacks for the most part is the training both of practitioners but also of those receiving care in their own internal awareness of the location of points in their own bodies, and therefore through their focus through a contemplative practice of activating these points internally and discovering for themselves the kind of experience, the sensations that occur with the stimulation of these points from simply a more mental focus internally like we find in the body scan techniques. And the lack of this creates a relationship where practitioners often have not done any of this sort of internal self-discovery, and therefore are primarily looking at these points as external stimulations of something else. In other words, objectifying the person treating in front of them and deciding based on often textual information what indications or points to use and where those points are located and how to stimulate them. This can certainly be helpful, but without a really deep internal experience of these points, it is often a somewhat superficial approach to recognition of what is possible with these points. For patients, they are often receive no training or advice on how to internally activate the points themselves and be aware of the sensations and particular experiences that they have with the activation of these points. And that is probably the critical piece that could be helpful, because if we rely on external sources for deciding which points are useful without also considering the particular unique energetic reactions that people have to points, we are not providing care that really looks at what is going on with each unique energetic individual that is being cared for. Therefore, the presentation that is being provided here does provide both for patients and practitioners, or those being cared for and those providing care, with this capacity for internally scanning, recognizing, activating acupuncture points in yourself, in ourself, and thereby also becoming aware of the experience that we have internally, the sensations that we have when we have activated these points. And this can have a profound effect on the way that we approach treatment, but also the relationship between that person being cared for and that person providing the care, and the person receiving the care being much more empowered to understand and directly experience and communicate regarding the sensations, the experience, the outcomes of points being stimulated, whether they're being stimulated from the outside through external methods like needles or magnets or electricity, or whether it's coming from more of this internal activation that we'll be looking at today. So, with that in mind, let's proceed to looking at the points that we will be using as examples here. I've chosen 8 acupuncture points. They aren't chosen because they are the most powerful or top 8 or 10 points in the acupuncture vocabulary. There are hundreds of acupuncture points, all of them having in certain situations really valuable usage in terms of adjusting the dynamics of the body. But these points I've chosen because I think they are a good example of some of the power points, I guess you could call them, in the body, but also points that are often coupled to assist with this care, because frequently it is not just a single point that is helpful. It is the conjunction, the constellation of points on the body that can make an energetic difference. So we will be going through each of these points. I will provide you with a general sense of their location sufficient for the purpose of internal activation, some sense of the meaning of the name of the point provided by the Chinese primarily, and also we will practice an internal technique to activate and be aware of the experience that goes with these points. If you've had no experience with body scanning, with this contemplative practice for being more present in the moment, it may take a bit more time and practice to really get into the focus and the kind of mindset, but also embodied experience that really helps you deeply activate and engage with these points. But with practice, basically anyone can learn this technique and use it to more deeply understand their own interactions in their body and how they can make a difference themselves, and also have a way, if they want further study, to learn about locating additional points and activating them in order to get a wider category of points to use when looking at ways to balance and the health and to generate well-being. In general, I would say the goal of these kinds of treatments historically, particularly in China, was to find and generate more harmony with your environment, more harmony with your personal well-being, and more of a sense of being present in each moment. So when treatments are successful, they are successful in assisting you to find more well-being internally and externally in terms of your relationship with others, and deepening your capacity for truly being present in your being and in this moment. All right, let's begin. Start with standing or sitting, but I'm going to suggest sitting is probably the simplest place for this practice. Feet flat on the floor. You will need to have a space that is feels safe and quiet and can be undisturbed for the next half hour or so as we go through this group of points. So if you need to put this recording on pause for a bit until you have that space, well and good. And once we are ready with a space that is comfortable and safe for us, and we are relatively assured of no interruptions, then let's begin. The first of the acupuncture points that I will be presenting is one that is fundamental to many contemplative practices as well as fundamental to many treatment practices from Asia. And it is a point located on the bottom of the feet. If you were to go to the soles of your feet now, and we'll initially locate each of these points and touch them with our fingers so that we can have a bit more of an internal experience of where the point is located by the sensation of touching the point. So if you go to the sole of your feet and you imagine a center line going from the third toe back to the center of the heel, so a center line along the bottom of your feet, and then you go from that tip of that toe about a third of the distance in, you will find a depression that is located there in the center of the foot, about a third of the distance towards the heel. And this is the first point that we want to locate. Press your finger into this point at this time and feel the sensation internally. Go inside your awareness of your body and feel the place where your finger is pressing firmly and gently on this point. And take a moment now simply to be aware of that sensation. And if you've had any experience with breathing into particular points or places in your body, and even if you haven't, this is the place where I suggest, as you feel the sensation of the point, you inhale, imagining inhaling that sensation, drawing it in with your breath, and as you exhale, exhaling into that sensation. So your breath becomes an important aspect of this experience we're looking at. Ancient texts in Taoism have been discovered that describe the process for cultivation of internal energy and centeredness and well-being. They often start with the mind focusing, your spirit focusing on a particular point. By this kind of focus, adding in the breath aspect, which we're discussing now, where you inhale and exhale into that point. This helps to gather the chi, as it's called, the vital force or energy or vitality of the body at that point. And with time, if you maintain that focus and that breath, it brings what is called the jing or essence of life to that point, which is truly considered the most empowering aspect of bringing present to this moment. And this kind of construct is often found in contemporary views of consciousness and even quantum physics, of how we start with our intention, and with that focus, it transforms more into physical reality. So it is this kind of approach that's being used here. So let's take the other foot now and do this same kind of internal locating, where you go to the center line, down the center of your foot from front to back, about a third of the distance from the tip of the toes. You will find this depression in the center of the foot. Press into that depression with a finger, and while you're doing that, put your internal awareness, your awareness in general, completely into the sensation you're feeling in that point. And breathe with that sensation. Inhaling the sensation, the experience you feel at the point, and exhaling into that experience, that sensation. Taking a few breaths to both get a sense of the location of this, but also this ability to stay with the experience, the sensations, whatever you're feeling. So there are no specific, whatever sensations, experience you're having at this moment are what you're having, and simply accept those as being just fine for right now. There is no need to generate anything beyond that. Now placing both feet on the ground, flat on the ground, and let's now focus on the internal experience of where we felt these points. By the way, this point is called Yang Chuan in Chinese, which essentially means a spring, a small water spring bubbling up, gushing up, in this case from the earth. So it also has meanings of passage to or connection with the earth. Clearly, when you have your feet flat on the ground, the soles of your feet connecting with the earth, the sensations that you have there are the connection of relationship of you and the earth together. So that is the core aspect of this Yang Chuan point. And so focusing your intention in the location of these 2 points, each point, 1 point on each foot, and whatever sensations you have with this focus, with this awareness of concentration, inhale with your whole body, these sensations that you're experiencing there, accepting them right now, no judgment needed, simply breathing in and being aware of the sensation. And then as you exhale, similarly, simply staying with the sensations you feel and breathing into those sensations. continuing to keep your awareness on the point, the connection with the earth, and inhaling and exhaling into the points. As you do this over time, you'll be able to more and more focus your awareness into your body. Will assist you, the chi will assist you to focus in specific spot on the bottom of your feet, each foot, and the connection that has with the earth. The connection that these points have with your environment is very important. It is somewhat odd that if you look at contemporary textbooks in acupuncture, they often simply describe interactions and indications inside your body. They have adopted a more modern paradigm that we are separate individuals in our environment, which is certainly part of reality. However, what is more important in many cases is how these points help us relate with our environment, connect us with our environment, and that is almost invisible to see in the contemporary textual material. But if you do this direct embodied activation, you can directly experience this relationship and see the potential value and importance of this relationship. So staying with these 2 points, Yang Chuan, continue to feel the sensation at these points and breathe with them. When I first was learning this, I also did do a little embodied imagination work where I imagined the 2 Yang Chuans were like the 2 prongs of an electric plug that I was plugging into the earth. And so that gave even more of a sense of the passage and connection and flow of relationship that occurs with this point. Others I know have used the imagination, the use of mind to experience these points connecting to the center of the earth, literally, and by holding their experience of the core of the earth with these points, also deepening the relationship. Another is the use of considering like a tree that you have roots extending down from this point into the earth. All of these are embodied imagined techniques to encourage opening your senses to what we're doing right now, sitting and keeping your awareness in the 2 points, Yang Chuan, breathing and engaging with this experience, whatever your sensations are. This is a simple aspect of the body scanning technique where you put your awareness in a particular spot. Actually, it could be externally or internally, but we're talking about this internal, quasi-internal, since it's located on your skin point, and being aware of whatever sensations occur there, breathing with those sensations, accepting that experience as being complete in this moment, and continuing to keep your awareness for a period of time in those points. So if you've been able to maintain this focus, as I have spoken for the last few minutes, that is great. If you have found yourself being distracted, then it will take a bit more practice time for you to maintain this sense of grounding, which is often what this is called when you get good at this. It helps to ground you, this connecting with the larger experience of the earth as part of your being. And you may find, therefore, that you start to have more global sensations or experiences. Maybe you feel the sense of something descending, what's called chi, the energy, the flow of things, the activity of things in your being have four primary directions of flow: downward, sinking, settling, as what some of you may be feeling here, but also the uplifting, rising, and supporting energy, which you also may experience more with this point. Then there is also the sense of gathering in and concentrating more, contracting, drawing energy into your being, the inward sensation that can occur, and then the opposite direction of a sense of things expanding outward, moving away, radiating out into the cosmos. So these four primary flows of energy or activities of your body, be aware if with activation at this point, if you have any experience of those. Notice emotionally, do you feel more calm, more anxious, more clear? Notice energy-wise, are your feet becoming warmer or cooler, tingling, or other sensations? There are several different layers of personal awareness of what's going on in your body that you can pay attention to as you activate each of these points. So take some time now as you are still maintaining your awareness the best you can. Whatever that is fine. Be patient with yourself. And at the same time, notice how you feel something shifting in your consciousness, your feelings, and the sensations of your body. Are you experiencing more of a sense of connection with the earth? And where is that sensation being experienced? How does that feel? How does that sensation compare to maybe what you are sometimes feel in your emotional side, anxiety or worry or happiness or depression or sadness or peacefulness? How does this experience of earth connection fit within that? What is the experience you have here? So simply stay with this, breathe with this point, and whatever is happening, let it just flow on by, and keep breathing and keep being in the point. So we've spent a little extra time with this point to really be clear about the method we'll be using with the other points, but also because it's this point that I'm going to continually refer to, that you come back to as we work with other points. The grounding point, Yang Chuan, is an important one for most people come from what I will call a technological society, where we're often up in our head so much with the kind of digital, electronic world that we live in, that we rarely take some time to drop our mind, our awareness, our spirit down into our body and into the experience of connecting with the earth. So this point actually becomes one of the more powerful meditation practices that people who have not grown up with the earth can do to help them reconnect with spirit, mind, whatever you want to call that, breath, body, your environment, and simply the earth that you are standing on all the time, sitting on, whatever. And so by being aware of simply the experience, the sensations in each moment with your breath, with your awareness, gathers and focuses more your capacity to be present here. And that leads to a deepening of the relationship. So we will revisit this as we proceed. Now let's continue with the points. The next point that we will be locating is on the top of your head. So if you take a finger and go to the crown of your head, to the highest point there, and gently touch that point with your finger, posture erect, and feel again whatever sensation it is that you feel with touching this point, internally being aware of where you feel the location of this point. Maintaining the awareness of your yang chuan points as you're also being aware of this point, the crown of your head. This point is known as Bai Hui, the 100 meetings or 100 connections, 100 transformations, often described as being only internal connections of your body, but I'm suggesting also obviously with the outside, with the space above your head. This is a point often considered to be a channeling point in many indigenous cultures, which makes complete sense if you ever sit quietly and feel the opening up to the outer and upper, the sky above you. Let's take the finger away now, and feet still flat on the floor. Be aware of the sensations you feel at the crown of your head, whatever those sensations are, and breathe with those sensations. So inhaling, imagining inhaling the experience of Bai Hui into your whole body, the space above Bai Hui, the space below and around Bai Hui, that it's the kind of center point now of your focus. And whatever sensation you feel there, tingling, burning, heaviness, physical sensations, exhaling into that experience. And now let's for a moment simply stay with that, just as we did with the foot points. So at this time you've got some awareness of the yang chuans, the connection to the earth, and this focused awareness on the crown of your head and the sensations you're feeling there, whatever they are. So let's take a moment and breathe with this experience. Now, as you activate points on the body, sometimes these points will be really the ones you need to activate. They will be helpful. That's why practitioners will choose certain points to stimulate. But also, sometimes these points may not be ones to put a lot of focus on, depending, in that moment anyway, depending upon your present energetic balance and relationship with things. So if you find that with the activation of these points, things seem to be spiraling away from balance, away from well-being, then it I think is good advice to back off, to be more patient, to not have as much focus on those points, to realize that there is a real power afoot here that can take you away from or take you towards harmony. And it is up to you to be aware of this, whether you're receiving care from someone else or from your own efforts, and make choices to, maybe go easier on or stay away from that which is causing some significant, maybe more anxiety, more sense of fatigue, or extreme dizziness, or weakness, things which, or more increased pain, whatever your condition might be. I personally would say that for the most part, especially as beginners, it's best to not put your attention or stimulation into these points, at least too much in the beginning. Dosage is very important in any kind of therapy. And so tread lightly, in other words. If you're finding that these points are providing more of an experience of well-being, openness, clarity, grounding, less pain, less anxiety, more ease, then staying with them again gently for a while can be helpful to shifting your awareness in a positive way. So at this point, as you've been spending some time with concentrating on Bai Hui, opening up to the sky, as well as Yang Chuan, and connecting deeper with the earth, notice your more global experiences. Do you feel more lightness, heaviness, calmness, energy, more hyper, more grounded, more cool, more hot? Whatever you are experiencing, simply notice this along with continuing with these points. And if as I said, your sensations seem to be moving towards something that isn't so pleasant, then step away from activating these points. We will have several different points to focus on here that you can find ones that you'll experience maybe both of these ways, and over time you will, as you learn more about your body in this, you can shift, and at particular times of day or month or whatever, when you need a particular kind of shift in your body, you can use these points to assist that. I use them regularly as ways to adjust what's going on in life, and it'll be different points at different times of the year or season, or if I have more fatigue or a cold or whatever, or a cough, I will use it to stimulate different points to assist. Okay, we have now spent some time with Bai Hui. Hope you have some experience with the location and the sensations and how it causes you to feel at this time. We're going to move to another important point used in many meditation practices, as well as in therapy for stimulating the body. Go to your lower belly. This point will be on the center line again, about 3 inches below your navel, below your belly button. So if you go, take your finger, and maybe if you had 3 or 4 fingers together, just below, holding below your navel, where that point is basically where that boundary occurs. You'll find a point below the navel. Press on that point with the finger gently and firmly, and go inside to feel the location and the sensations you feel with the pressure of that point, your finger connecting with that point. Really sense the location and breathe, inhale, exhale into this point. Again, if you can, remembering also the connection with Yang Chuan, with the earth, keep that going, and the crown of your head with Bai Hui. That openness above and grounding below, and now holding the experience at this point just below your navel. The name for this point is Guan Yuan, the gate to the source, being the access point to your core. Various translations implying you are at the kind of center of your energetic well-being with this point. By the way, all of these points are listed in the written description. I should have mentioned that a little earlier. That goes with this recording on YouTube. So you can look those up, and then you can look them up on the internet. If you type the point like Yang Chuan, you'll see the spelling in the written description. Acupuncture point, Yang Chuan, acupuncture point, you will find a plethora of opinions about location, indications, and functions. And as you read all that, I want you to really remember that what you experience, the sensations, what you feel are primary. These indications collected in books are compilations from lots of people over lots of time, and they have no relationship with what is going on with you in this moment. So for both practitioners and patients that rely on these external sources to make choices, that is a reductionist approach to this treatment. We really need a more holistic method where we can gain more direct experience through palpation of points if you are a practitioner and energetically what you feel, but also as the person receiving care to really have this internal capacity to be aware of what's going on in these points. So here we're doing Guan Yuan, breathing into this point, feeling the sensations, inhaling the sensation of the location. Take your finger away now if you haven't already. And inhale and exhale. Inhaling the sensations, the location, exhaling into this point, into the sensations you have there. With your hands, you can simply rest them on your legs. That's what I'm doing now. Later on, we'll also maybe lightly place palms up on our lap when we get to some of the other points, but whatever is comfortable for you, so you can keep your awareness on these more center line points that we're focusing on first. The Yang trends, earth byways to the sky, and Guan Yuan here at the center of your, what is often considered your core in some disciplines, the source. Chinese sometimes called the lower dantian, in Japanese the hara. So it has, many cultures have different ways of naming, basically in English, your gut, you know, how you trust your gut, or the fire in your gut, or whatever those phrases are. All these stem from a recognition of the power that exists in your lower belly. And by bringing your awareness, which again, frequently in our techno world, we don't put our awareness in our lower belly for various reasons. Here I'm asking you to do that. And for some people who maybe have had trauma in this area, this may be uncomfortable in the beginning. So tread lightly, as I've said before, but revisit this area as you stay grounded and become more connected with your body. Because the areas that initially may be challenging, if you get more comfortable in your body and revisit them in a gentle way, you can often then get them to release and open up and have some even profound shifts that occur. But don't push it. Don't force yourself in these situations. So if check your emotions now, for example. See if you're feeling calm, or some of you may be feeling more anxious or nauseous, or other experiences that are uncomfortable. If so, go to the grounding points if those make you feel more comfortable, and back off of the stimulation of this point, recognizing that there's something going on here that's diagnostic in itself, and that it will take some care, but that care may take more time. For those of you who are feeling comfortable or centered or more energy or connected can continue to breathe and be with this point. Those of you that are feeling a little less comfortable, maybe can still stay with it lightly and see if it eases up for you. Take a little time to see if it starts to relax and open up, and if it doesn't, then please back off. Guan Yuan. So this point is, as I said, associated with the gate to the source or to the core of your being, probably in the West more associated with the adrenal reproductive energies of the lower body, in terms of if you put your awareness and then your breath, and then with time this collects more of a power in this point. This is one of the points in ancient Taoist and Buddhist and other discipline practices, is one that is frequently used as a focusing point in meditation practice as well. So some of you may be familiar with it from that perspective. Now going to the next point we're going to be doing, I want you to go directly behind Guan Yuan, meaning go to your low back area and essentially at the same level as Guan Yuan, find the point on your back. If you were able to locate via lumbar, it would be below the second lumbar vertebra. But for our purposes, it's simple enough to simply find the point that is on the same level and the center line on your back, and gently and firmly press that point with the finger, being aware of the internal sensation you feel of its location. Breathing, staying with connection with the earth as you breathe with this low back point. Point is known as Ming Mun, also another kind of gate point to the fire or the core or the essence or the source, or your destiny for that matter. So many translations, but they all reflect a similar experience as the point on the front of your body, that they are, it is a way to access something that is at your very root. And so for that reason, I'm going to ask you now, if you take your finger away from Ming Mun for a moment and be aware of the location of that point internally. And now also the location of Guan Yuan in front, and see if you can have a convergence of those 2 points more in the middle. See if you can find a meeting point, a place where you feel a location where the two meet inside. And breathe into that point. Inhale and exhale into that convergence. Being aware of the location of Ming Man and Guan Yuan, and also this meeting place. Also maintaining the connection with Yang Tran and the earth, plugging into the ground there and the sensations you feel there, and opening up to the crown of your head and the experience of opening to the sky, the space above. And so we're now keeping a constellation of points going simultaneously. And we have now established actually a group of points that if you keep your focus, your breath on these points, you have a pretty decent internal embodied activation of points that can be a contemplative, grounding, opening, centering practice for you. And you can experiment with the awareness of these points and the different sensations that you experience that go with them. So whereas the yang chuans are clearly more associated with grounding, no pun and pun intended, and the crown of the head is more with opening up to the possibilities, the various meetings and connections that can occur in your environment as well as in your own energetic well-being. Then the points we're now focusing on in the front and the back of your lower belly and lower back are often considered more centering points, at least one of the energetic centers that is often ignored or not appreciated in the West. Clearly, we have heart centers and other centering places we can go, but it's this area that I felt would be an important one for most, I won't say Westerners only, because frankly, many people in the East also that have been brought up in a techno world lack a relationship, a connection with these points. So let's breathe and be aware of them for a few moments, this constellation of points that we've set up. Posture erect, shoulders slightly back, crown of your head kind of lifting up, even as you feel anchoring with your feet to the earth. You may find that bringing the palms, your hands together in front of you, maybe even in front of this Guan Yuan point, and gently holding your hands together in one way or another more deeply empowers your capacity to feel this location and engagement with this point. So utilize your hand energy as well to connect in a way, kind of embracing this part of your body, hugging this place of the source, gently breathing with that. So in a daily meditation practice, you can do simply this kind of activity for 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, in the evening, or other times during the day when you find yourself sitting and waiting in a bus or in a line or something, standing as well. And it can assist you in bringing your mind, your breath, your body to connect together to form one experience. And it is that relationship of engagement of breath and physical sensations and mental awareness that is really seen as a vital step, a vital part of gaining more of a harmony and well-being in each moment. And so if you're finding some places where this was difficult and challenging, again, be patient with yourself, but also recognize that is diagnostic, and that with some time and breath and further relationship with these points that you can find a shift occurring. You may also want to invite a professional who works in the field to participate in stimulating some of these points externally. But be quick to give feedback when you feel now that you get more experience with the internal sensations you have with these points, to give feedback to someone else who's taking care of you if you feel like things aren't going the right way. You, with experience, become really the best, well, I won't, often the best person to know what's going on with the stimulation of these points. And practitioners may have your best interest in mind, but they may not be as aware energetically of the moment and how to palpate and check what's going on with you. So it's a relationship, and you both need to trust each other to work together to harmonize the chi. Even though it appears you have different roles, one more the stimulator and one more the receiver, in fact, I think they are equal roles, and the shared goal is the harmony of chi, the harmony of this moment and well-being. And when you find that place with point location or internal activation or stimulation outside or whatever, the well-being will be obvious. The practitioner will experience it. You will experience, your environment will experience it. So this well-being is not secluded in some gated community of your body only. It is something that is part of the moment and whatever is around you. So trust your experience and your sensations as you learn more and more about the possibility with these points. And as practitioners as well, do this internal work so that you can be more sensitive to the people you're caring for, but also by engaging in this work simultaneously, if you're working with someone else in the same area, you can have a more transformative effect on what's going on. As they say, that Gandhi maybe is a quote, I never know that I trust quotes, but be the change you want to see in the world. So if you can manifest the change in yourself that you think is important for the well-being of your patient while being with that person, and I usually don't refer to them as patient, I refer, because I think of this as a shared relationship, a person that is being treated. If the two of you find this place together, then you're making a difference, I think, not just locally, but globally. All right, we're going to move on to additional series of points. A few groupings that you can use in addition to the center line points that we learn that are basically important for grounding and getting present. So the first group will involve points on your wrist. So if you go to the looking at your palm and go to the wrist line, and then the center line going a couple inches towards the elbow on the inside of your wrist. There's a depression there between the tendons, and that will be press into that point gently. And feel internally the activation, the sensation of that point. Breathe. Now let's switch to the other wrist, inside of the wrist, center line about 2 inches from the wrist crease going towards the elbow, between the tendons, again, pressing into that area firmly, gently. You may notice an aching sensation at this particular point. Being aware of the location internally now. Staying connected to the earth with your feet as you simultaneously feel the sensation in your wrist. Now, resting both hands on your lap, one palm on top of the other, whichever you feel comfortable. Palms up. Become aware of the 2 points on each wrist. Put your awareness in the sensation of these 2 points. You could also actually put your palms on your legs if you feel more comfortable with that. You can check and see what feels more energetically balanced. In either case, we're putting our awareness in the Neiguan point. This Neiguan inner gate is considered an access point more to the inner aspect of your being, particularly the organs of the trunk, the heart, the lungs, the digestive organs, but some more of that internal awareness is associated with this point, Neiguan, inner gate. So place your awareness in the sensations you feel at this point on your wrists. Inhale that sensation, exhale into that sensation. Notice any other experiences globally or locally you're having, warmth, tingling, well-being, anxiety, whatever experiences are coming up in your being with this activation at this point. The chi seem to be more going, radiating out or drawing in, or descending or ascending, or just staying put. Now we're going to locate a couple of points that's often done with this point. It's located on your feet. So going to the inside of your foot to the big toe, and as you feel the big toe run up the bone, run up along the bone that goes to the big toe, just underneath that bone, and go to a spot, again, about a third of the way from the tip of your big toe to the heel. Under this bone, you will find a little space under this bone and hold that point. Go internal, feel the location, the sensations. Breathe. Just under the bone, it goes to your big toe, a few inches from your toe, about a third of the distance to the heel. And let's now move to the other foot. Do the same activity. Run along the bone from the toe, coming along just underneath the feeling of being on the bone and just under it, about a third of the distance towards the heel, and you'll run into a little space there that you feel that maybe has a little bit different kind of sensation. Hold that point for a moment. Go internal. Feel that sensation. Breathe with it. Pressing firmly so you feel this sense of the location. Now placing your feet on the ground, becoming aware of both of these points. Gong sun, basically, in the simplest meaning, a child, maybe even inner child point. Feel these 2 points, breathing with them. Obviously now you're with the feet, so it's easy also to feel the connection with the earth, the yang chuan. along with these 2 points on the inside of your feet. And bring in the experience of Naguan on your wrists. So now we have 4 points we're engaging with. The 2 on your wrist and the 2 on your feet. Along with keeping grounded and keeping open to the heavens. Simply stay with whatever experience you have. Keep your awareness on the sensations at these 4 points. Breathing with that awareness, whatever it is. Letting time flow with this awareness. No judgment, no need to change anything. Simply stay with it and breathe with it. And now that we've begun to activate these points, notice any sensations you're experiencing in your body, locally or globally, or in your relationship with your environment. Do you feel things drawing in or expanding out, for example? Do you feel more holding, gathering, or do you feel more releasing? Ascending, descending, warming, cooling, calming, anxiety producing. Whatever level, whatever awareness you have, take note of it as you keep your focus on these points and breath on these points. So this grouping of points are one that are used commonly in acupuncture practice particularly, and they're used for connecting points. If you think of inner child and inner gate, you can tell by the names that they are focusing a bit more on the energetic, the internal activity. Whatever experience you had of that, though, is yours. And whether it felt more releasing or holding, whatever in this moment is for you, the experience you have. So you need to look at whether this is a group of points that right now, today, are helpful for you, or ones that you need to not put as much focus on. We're going to do a contrasting now so that you can see both sides to this activity. Let's now go and locate a point that is directly opposite Naguan, so on the back side of your wrist, what is usually the hairier, darker side of the wrist. Again, a couple inches from the wrist crease, the wrist joint, so it should be directly opposite to the Naguan, and this is called Waiguan, Y meaning outer gate. So again, maybe between 2 tendons or 2 bones, you feel this point. Press firmly, gently, internally locate that sensation. Breathe with the sensation. Keep your awareness focused there. Let's shift to the other wrist. Again, a couple inches away from the wrist on the center line, directly opposite the Naguan is Waiguan, outer gate. Keep the grounded connection with the earth as you feel the sensation internally at this point. And let's place our hands back on flat on our legs for now, palms connecting with the legs, and simply put our awareness into these two Wigwans now on the outer side of the wrists. So you've got your Bai Hui, crown of your head, Yang Chuan to the earth, maybe even the Guan Yuan at your core, and these 2 points on the outside of your wrist that you're particularly activating now, putting your awareness and breath into. We're going to add 2 companion points to the Wigwans. If you go to your feet again, now we'll go to the 4th and 5th toe, and the space between the 4th and 5th toe, the bones going back up into the foot. So you run your finger between those 2 bones that connect to the 4th and 5th toe up until where they kind of converge. And that'll usually be a couple inches from your toes, moving between the 2 bones up into where the 2 bones seem to kind of come together. You might find a little tender spot there. Hold that spot for a moment, being aware internally of its location. Focused point here. Bringing your breath to that focus point under where your finger is touching. Staying with it. Moving to the other foot. Again, between the 4th and the 5th toe, bones leading to those toes, slide your finger up between the 2 bones until you reach where they kind of link together more, a little depression there. If you feel a tendon there, you can be on the outside of the tendon, the depression on the outside of the tendon, and internally locate. Zuling Qi. Zuling Qi I translate as house of tears. Tears obviously dealing with the eyes, but also often dealing with pain. House of tears. Holding this point, let's put the feet back down and take a moment to be aware of these 2 points on your feet. Out towards the outer side of your feet. Staying with those sensations that you experienced, breathing into those sensations, simply holding your awareness there, just staying with them for a bit as you breathe with it. Breathing in the experience, and then as you breathe out, breathing into the experience. Now bringing your palms, the wrists where you had the Wigwans into this as well. So we'll do the outer gate along with the house of tears. All 4 of these points maintaining the awareness as well as the grounding and the opening to the sky. Okay. Notice with this any sensations you're having as you hold these 4 points. Do you feel things opening, releasing, contracting, rising, falling, more of a sense of relaxation or more of a sense of tension? Do you feel more well-being or less well-being? Bring your focus as well to the center point, the Guanyuan area, if you can, with this, coupling that with these outer points. See if you notice any relationship with those with practice. I realize for many of you this is brand new, so you may need to listen to this tape more than once and practice more than once, but trust, as you know, anything with practice you can get better at it. And particularly when we're doing this practice of first starting with mental intention and awareness, leading with breath to the gathering and focusing of our energy, our body's life force focusing on that point, and then that generating a deeper essence, that a deeper feeling of connection with reality. With time, you can discover this, and it is well worth discovering. Okay, so we have this outside thing going. Now let's shift. Just move to the inside of the wrists, move to the inside of the feet. And as you shift, notice anything that changes globally in that instant. As you just shifted now, you're doing the gong sun, the child, the inner gate point. Now how do you feel? Now where's your energy going? Maintaining your feet and the crown of your head all through this is sort of the stable axis. Feel the inside points and whatever experiences you're having. Breathe. Now shift back out to the outer points again. Shift out to the outside of the wrist, the outside of the feet. And again, notice what has shifted, even subtly, in your being. Relaxed or gotten more tense. Felt more freedom or more containment. Whatever experiences, words that you have to describe these sensations, be it simply tingling or more fatigue or less fatigue, whatever level it is that you're aware of here. Pay attention now to the experience outside. And one last time, let's move inside. Inside to the Neguan inner gate and inside of the feet. Staying with the earth, staying in your core with the center Guanyuan point. Is this experience of more well-being to be with these inside points or with the outside points? Or do you experience well-being with both? Or well-being with neither of them? So these are for you personally to feel and sense and trust. And know that with practice, all of these points will begin to open and become part of your well-being. And in the long run, they will all become your friends. But in the beginning, there may be some blockages or traumas or other things that disrupt it. And so therefore, these are the places to be more gentle with and trust that with time and with keeping the places going that you feel well-being, you can bring them into the fold as well. So that your whole breath, your whole body, your whole awareness all easily conjoin anywhere along the surface of your body. And then with that, you're able maybe to extend this experience out into your environment and also deeper into your body. All right, you all now have the basic training for how to locate and activate and be personally aware of the sensations with that activation of points on the surface of your body. The names of these points in Chinese are provided in the written textual material. Again, you can research them more online if you have interest by typing the name of the point plus the term acupuncture point and read all about it. But please, with a grain of salt, your personal experience should be the one that really is vital to you, and all the opinions of others are important to be part of informing you, but they are not your sole source, be that relating to location, indications, usage, etc. And as you explore this, you will certainly find there are other points on your body that you may want to explore, and you can look them up in text, for instance, and find their location and do this same kind of exercise. I suggest for those of you that don't have much experience with knowing the indications, it may be good to first simply be aware of what you feel before you are biased by external sources. Those of you that are already trained in this kind of material, acupuncturists, for example, please suspend to a good degree whatever training you've had in terms of what they should be for, and discover what they are, particularly for yourself, so you can yourself see what it's like to be inside these points, to activate them and experience them. My best to you all, and good luck with your efforts in this regard. I have practiced this kind of activation for some 20, 30 years now, and also engaged patients with it, both with people that I was caring for, again, and I have found that it can deeply improve or deepen the relationship and the transformative practice that can occur when two people together work together to find harmony of chi. Take care.